All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning and hope you had a great day yesterday. It is Wednesday, January 15th. Yes, back from Canada and San Diego. Had a great time in San Diego and in Canada and Vancouver with Andrew as well. And it's good to be back to my setup here. So, all right. So I think that's not fake Norm. So I'm assuming that's Peter trying to join us because Norm will be.
Morning,
Good morning, Peter. How are you doing
morning,
today?
Carlos. Morning, Carlos. Texas is awesome. Everybody else sucks.
Excellent. So Norm will not be joining us today. He's not feeling well. So he will be with us either tomorrow or maybe next week. So he's got a his back gave out. I think yesterday he went to see the doctor. He's laying down today for a little bit. So wish him all the best. Hope he gets better. All right. So I yesterday I only really watched BYND and LK. So Peter, if you want to walk through what we had as far as a watch list, and I can bring those up. You can speak a little bit about the price action. I'll start with BYND and LK since I was watching those. So obviously, guys, BYND has been just unbelievable lately. Let's look at the daily chart real quick here. So you can see on the daily again, just last couple of days since the 7th, it's just been ripping with some really good volume. Look at the volume we're getting here. Yesterday we kind of got a bit of a huge sell-off all the way up to 135 and then right back down. Another SPY had a sell-off in the and towards the middle of the day, I believe around 2 o'clock or so. We had a huge sell-off there. I think it was some tariff news is what I looked up online, so I'm not sure what else came out during that time that caused that huge drop. But again, huge rejection here of 135. Today we're gapping down 4.2 with some really good volume, 567 at the moment. So this is going to be in play for sure. We'll keep it on here to watch this morning. Now, LK was the other one I was watching. This was also has been pretty fun to trade. But again, if we look at the open, let's get the 5 minute here from yesterday. The open was not clean. You know, it had 1 minute pop here right above the pre-market high. So in here you could have gotten in for a good entry off the 1 minute. But again, overall was not as clean as BYND was with its move. But again, beautiful breakout here above the pre-market highs. You can see here, we see this move quite a bit, guys. For those who are looking to trade before that first 5 minutes, the second minute and the third minute sometimes provide some really good opening range breakups. So if you took this for a 2 minute open range breakup on this pushback up, could have been a great entry anywhere around here to break for this 47.67 we had, and look how beautifully it goes up to 48.60. Doesn't get great continuation if you look at a bigger time frame. The 5 minute, you do not get that continuation there. Kind of sells right back down. It becomes very choppy. But that 1 minute, if you're trading off that 1 minute, you could have got some good opportunities there. Peter, what you had yesterday that looked good?
Yeah, three that I'll mention. So BSX was one that Brian actually mentioned. Wasn't on my initial list when I did the pre-market yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
but Brian had mentioned it, and it turned out to be a pretty good trader.
Is that B?
BSX.
Oh, X. Okay, there we go. X.
Yeah.
All right. All right. See what we have here. All right. Yeah, it had a nice little sell-off here as well. Yep. Not sure how the price action was. Seems like the volume seems a little bit on the lighter side. Actually, no, this is good volume. Actually, this is good volume. Just the price action seems again a little bit funky, but again, it all depends how I actually traded. So I wasn't watching this one. So this looked like it was a nice short here, nice double top of the 1 minute. Not sure how he traded it. Now this was Brian, right?
Brian had mentioned it, but I think Thor traded it with me, and I know I traded it throughout the day. So
Okay,
it
nice.
doesn't, when I look at it now, it doesn't look like it was a huge mover, and it didn't have a huge move, but it was relatively smooth, so you can get a move. The other one that not a huge mover, but had a good day was WFC, Wells Fargo. Again,
WFC.
very slow mover, but what you'll see is there is this consolidation where it moved. It had a little bit of a good move off the open, went up unexpectedly, came back down, and then it consolidated right through the middle of the day, where it's moving like I think it moved less than 2 pennies over an hour period. But then if you go later in the afternoon, Carlos, you'll see that it did eventually drop,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
for those that were in it, provided a good opportunity.
Yeah,
So.
very nice. Yeah, no, it looks like it basically sold off all day. Once it lost the VWAP, especially here, it just kind of becomes a beautiful short towards the low of the day, and then there consolidates, tries to get back to VWAP, cannot. and then another nice drop here as well. So yeah, it didn't move as wild as some of the other stuff we've been watching, but this looked like it was a very nice move. You were able to get a good entry on here. All right, let's look.
Sometimes slow and steady is good. The last one
yeah.
I'll just mention really quickly because I got it off of a Benzinga alert, FDX. So FedEx, there was an alert in mid-afternoon, late afternoon, saying that FedEx, Amazon had lifted their restriction on third-party vendors using FedEx to ship products, and FedEx took a huge pop. You can see in the afternoon there. So I managed to get in somewhere on the pullback at 162 is the price I got in. I just tried it, small share size, got a couple of bucks on it. You can see it leaked back to my entry, but it was one of those good where sometimes those Benzinga callouts they can be an opportunity if you're sort of listening to them and quick on them. So definitely value out of that Benzinga feed we've got here in the room.
Yeah, no, this was a very nice pop here, very clean, waiting for that pullback. That's the way to do it, and you can see you got a beautiful move all the way to 164.50 before it started getting a little bit toppy there. All right, guys. So let's get to it. So for today, not Norm. Oh, well, Peter. Do we have any significant news?
I'll be not Norm. How about that? So,
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I don't. So I don't have any huge news expected for today. I do think that we're likely to hear at some point today further updates on the trade talks. Just until they get the document signed and it's all set, there's going to be continued like little missives on it, and we have to be careful about that because, like Carlos mentioned yesterday, when news came out, and frankly, it's interesting because the news came out and said that the U.S. wasn't lifting tariffs on China, and then there was an official statement a few minutes later that quickly said, but this is not news. We already told you that's what was going to happen. So the markets, you can see, dropped significantly on the initial news. Then everybody said, oh, actually, that's not news. And the markets came back up. So it's just, we've got these knee-jerk reactions that happen. So we got to be careful about that.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't know of anything specific, but I've been rebooting my PC. My apologies, I haven't had a chance to look up whether there's any Fed announcements we're expecting today.
Okay, no worries. So if that comes up, definitely let us know if there's anything going on today. All right, guys, so let's start with our watch. Let's start with the top. CLVS in our gappers list this morning. Now, CLVS is one that has been, again, active in the past. Not as easy to trade. It can be a little bit difficult, a little bit choppy. This is Clovis here. So we had a couple of days where this thing was just ripping nicely here, then kind of sold back down on two really green days. Two really red days here. So it's been consolidating after that. We do seem to have a nice level here at 886, which we're bouncing off today. Now, Peter, do you know of any significant news that's causing this move today? They're trading 1.9 million shares right now. They're up 24.7, again, with a very decent pre-market activity at the moment.
Yeah, so Clovis was granted what's called a priority review for one of their products, which is a little bit rare. Normally, the FDA doesn't like to rush things, so the fact that they're fast tracking it, we'll say, is what's giving the company a bump. Now, this is a prostate cancer treatment, and as soon as you put cancer and FDA approval together, people get excited, and look what we're seeing in Clovis.
Okay. Yep. So definitely worth keeping an eye on this one, guys. We do have a nice little pop here, some great volume, up 23%. And I just love the fact that we're doing it off this level here as well. We're at an area where we have some possible resistance here also. If we can break out of this high of pre-market 1148, hopefully it doesn't leave without us. We have some room here into 14. So hopefully that can wait and we could get going. So lower price stock, trading around $9, $10 now, almost 11. It is not a low flow, guys. It is a 50 million shares flow. So it is it's not going to fall under that low flow category, but it is a lower price. And if you look at some of the ATRs, what's the ATR on this? What's the ATR? It's $1 for a stock that's trading at $9. That is pretty high on an average true range of 14 days. So that's going to include some of these days where it hasn't moved much, but you can tell that this thing, when it gets going, it can give you a nice little pop. Our low of our pre-market now is 11. Which it should be lower in the pre-market. Yeah, pre-market is 9. So the low of the pre-market is 9. We're as high as 11.40 this morning. So that's CLVS. Next we have PCG. Now this is the one, if you all remembered, that created the issues with the fire out in California, and they have come back quite a bit here. So they were down as low as $3.50. Remember this here. And they found a way to bounce back, and they've been crawling out of this hole pretty nice. So at the moment, you got a couple of good trading here on the daily, good patterns. You can see some levels consolidation between 11 and 10. Was that about 10:30 or so? We were breaking out of that. We broke out of that 2 days ago, and here we are continuing that move up 5.7 this morning, 839,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market activity is a little bit choppy in this area, not all that great. I have not been looking at this stock in the last couple of days, so I'm not sure how the intraday trading has been on these 2 days here. But looking at the daily chart, we can get a possible breakout. We do have some room to run here, and this is going to be a very big resistance for PCG. We'll get into that in our second part of the show when we start doing support and resistance. But you can see here, this has been a very tough place for PCG to try to break out of. So today could be the day. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. Again, pre-market has got some great volume. Not the best pre-market activity in regards to actual price action. So we'll see how that gets later in the day. So PCG definitely in play. Aside from it's just moving on some good volume here, Peter, do we have any news or any positive stuff on PCG? Any settlements, maybe new?
Yeah, so yes, it was actually yesterday that the news came out, and that's why you sort of see a jump yesterday, and then it's continuing this morning that they're nearing a deal on the restructuring, the financial restructuring, and their bond issuance. So if they are able to come to resolution on that, that gives them sort of a path ahead to continue corporate operations without having to sell off significant assets. So that's what's giving it a bump. It did move fairly well yesterday. I have trouble trading a bankrupt company to the long.
Were you going to say to the north side?
To the north side, exactly. Well, I said, look, we're not technical analysts. We're technical analysts. We're not fundamentalists. I mean, so hey, if it's moving, we can trade it, and it moved fairly well yesterday. If you look at yesterday's chart, I mean, it went up.
Just zooming out here a bit. Yeah, actually, that's some pretty good intraday action. Not great volume, but towards the end, looks like it started getting some good volume towards the close here as well. So again, could be interesting. Definitely one worth watching. And I'm with you on that. It's hard to go long on a stock that's that's been so heavily cluttered with so much bad news. But again, the technicals here looking great, guys. We do have a nice gap here that we can try to fill this morning, and it looks like we're testing this area one more time. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least the 5th time on the daily that we test that area. Let's look at pins here. Pinterest, which is at the moment 518,000 shares traded. Pre-market activity is not all that great. Now, this is a nicey stock, and they usually tend not to have the best pre-market price action. So their flow and pattern in the pre-market are not great. It does have some good volume, up 4.3. We are yesterday we did get above this the bottom of this gap we have here. So here's your gap. This will be the top of the gap, right? And this will be the bottom of the gap. So we did break out of that here yesterday on a nice green bar here. And today we could see some possible continuation if we can hold these levels and hit that pre-market high one more time. Any news on this one? Anything going on that's causing this pop?
Well, the interesting news today is that Pinterest announced that they probably have more users than Snapchat. So I don't know when Snapchat became the measure of success, but it's sort of like saying my car is faster than that old Toyota. So great, but why do I care? But anyways, the stock is getting a bump. That's the only news I see. But I guess that user base, hopefully they're going to be able to monetize it. But it seems to be giving the stock a bump.
All right, so definitely worth watching this one, guys. Again, we got some good volume here, and I do also like the fact that we broke out of this gap area yesterday. We could get some good continuation out of pins this morning. So we'll keep an eye on that. Next, we have BYND, which I left here from earlier. So look at BYND this morning. Again, giving some back. I'm going to remove these levels because obviously we got some new information on here. Our highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are taking up a lot of the levels we already are going to be using this morning. So a nice little drop here on BND after a huge rejection here at over 135. It's coming down to reality a little bit. Again, it got pretty extended on the daily, guys. Look at this breakout. Right, it got pretty extended, basically going from around $80 on this breakout to 135. That's a huge move. So you can expect a pullback. Now, pre-market's got a beautiful pre-market price action. You can see here it's creating a beautiful flow. You have some top here. You got some levels towards the top, some resistance. You have some support as well in the pre-market. So we'll see how this plays out. I mean, it's a high of the pre-market is 119. The low is 110. at the moment. So you got a very nice range there. So we'll see how this one goes out this morning. Again, this one you want to be very careful. And if you trade this one, just be mindful of the spread. The spread could be a little bit wild sometime on this one. Yesterday was at least 30-50 cents at some points. Right now, it actually is pretty tight. It's only about 8 cents or so. So that's pretty good for the pre-market action. We'll see how this one trades later towards the open. So definitely BYND, we'll keep an eye on. We'll do some levels for this one, and we'll see if it's going to. Here it actually can go either way, guys. We already see that this 111 has been tested several times. If this thing can drop here, we can see another drop all the way to 105. If it can hold here, it could be doing a very significant pullback to head back towards that previous day close. So any direction on BYND, I don't really have a bias. This thing, it's been really strong the last couple of days, and it can surprise us here and bounce off these pre-market lows. Next, below BYND, we have
So I was just going to mention on BYND, I mean, to just echo what you said, Carlos, everybody, we have to be careful. I mean, there was a downgrade this morning, but there's upgrades and downgrades constantly on this stock. So, you know, I don't know what to make of those at this point. We have to remember yesterday, there was a huge run up, and then the thing dropped even more than it ran up, so much so and so quickly that it actually was paused. The trading was halted midday before it resumed. So, you know, like it's getting that volatile that you've got to be really careful. So just be cautious on it.
Yep, absolutely. Next, we have Target. So Target's dropping down 6.8. What's the news on Target? What's going on with these guys?
Good question. You jumped ahead of me. They're so fast. Hold on a second.
No
we'll
worries,
tell you
man.
in a moment.
No worries.
So they're cutting their forecast, it seems to be. So that's never a good. So after they announced their holiday sales, which were not as high as expected, and as a result, they're having to cut their next quarter's forecast. So they're blaming toy sales as part of the miss. Toys and electronics.
They're blaming who? I'm sorry.
They're blaming their toy and electronic sales for the shortfall.
Gotcha. So yes, it's a nice big drop here. Pre-market activity is not that great at the moment. We got some great volume, but again, Target's one of those stocks that doesn't give you a great pre-market activity. Even the daily itself, you can see here some of these patterns are not great, right? You don't have a nice daily daily chart here as well. So, but again, today they have some news. They're dropping down quite a bit, 6.7. I think this is going to be a good one to watch today. Great volume, 997,000 shares traded. So we'll get some levels for this here. We're right in the middle of a gap also. We're literally right in the middle of this gap here where we had gapped up and actually sold up pretty well, right? So we'll see which way it can go either way here on Target. On some negative news, definitely worth watching. Some good volume at the moment. We'll see how the open, how we get prepared as we get closer to the open. All right, below Target, NKTR, another one that was great on Friday, I believe. We traded this one. Again, my days could be a little mixed up here, but on Friday had a beautiful opening range breakup on NKTR. Yeah, I believe it was this day here. So today we are down 12.1, 168,000 shares traded. Pre-market activity is looking okay. It's decent, not the greatest, but you can see here the volume starting to pile in as you break it right from here around 8 o'clock or so. So hopefully this can start creating a good pre-market activity, but definitely one worth watching. Now, this one had a great run up here, right? Didn't quite gap up. It was not a huge gap up, had a small gap up, but it ran pretty nice almost the entire day, closed very strong. Here you had a pullback and then kind of consolidation, right? So obviously some good news for NKTR here. What is causing this drop now? What broke out this morning that we're getting this gap down of 12.3?
So while we saw that CLVS had an FDA fast track, NKTR had moves from the FDA, but they rejected one of their drugs. So they were trying to get approval on an opioid painkiller, and I can only imagine that with all the concern over opioid drugs these days, probably why they did not approve it. So that's what's bringing it down.
All right, that makes sense. We'll definitely watch this one again. This one traded very well, very clean intraday trading here on this day here. I think Andrew took it for a trade as well, or was it a short on this day here? But again, we traded this one very well over the last couple of days, so definitely worth watching. Had some good intraday plays. We'll see this one can create some for us this morning. So it's going to go back to our gappers. I see we have some other ones are popping up here. Actually, 3 more. STM, which if I am not mistaken, I don't think this stock trades very well. STM, I think it's a foreign stock. Yeah, so it's a foreign stock, guys. It doesn't trade very well. So just going to bypass this one. And the other one we have here is Kronos. So we have Kronos here. It is gapping down 2.4 this morning. It's got a very nasty pre-market activity. I'm sorry, a daily chart. You can see it's been chopping around quite a bit. You do have some areas of support and resistance. It kind of been stuck within two ranges in here. You have the big range here where the previous day close is at. The top of the range, the bottom of that range is around here, around 650 or so. And then you got a smaller range inside as well, between 7 and 666 looks like. So if we can break out of this, got a lot of room to run, guys. Here, I would love for this to be a long. Right now, it's got some good volume, 300,000 shares traded. It is down 2 points, negative 2% at the moment. But again, this will be great if it can get going here above this previous day close. So towards the bottom, you do have a lot of congestion in this area. So we'll look at that when we do levels. But again, just a lot of not the best pre-market. Daily chart on here towards the south. Right, if we can get towards the north here, we can definitely get some good tradings. Hopefully. So we'll throw this one on here. Yep.
Yeah, and Carlos, there's an industry play going on here. So yesterday, APHA, Afira, which is a Canadian pot producer, had their earnings, and they actually beat their revenue or increased their revenue like 450% over the same quarter the previous year. But there was concerns that they just weren't cash solvent and would face bankruptcy. Interestingly, this morning, APHA announced that they're slashing their full year sales outlook and saying that there's a lot of issues on inventory market wide. That was a statement from the company. So you notice on your list, you don't have Cron, you don't have Tilray, TLRY. So we're seeing a sort of that's bringing down the market as there's concerns over basically these companies' ability to meet their numbers. And I was reading a couple articles yesterday about they're just saying that the industry is new, and generally these pot producers are chronically bad at forecasting. So I think all of that is bringing it down.
Gotcha. So definitely worth keeping an eye on this one. We'll see what we get out of that. Let's look at TLRY. Wow, TLRY is trading at $20. I mean, this stock was up as much as 300, 200 and something, and it's down at $20. And actually, the pre-market activity, just looking at it right now on the 5-minute, looks pretty good. There's a great pre-market activity, guys. So I don't know. Maybe not. It's trading at a lower price range. Maybe it is. It has more clean moves, clean trading price action, because before the price action was just incredible. You couldn't really trade it and manage your risk. The spread was insane, and the ATR was just huge. But now I'm looking at this stock. The ATR is down to it disappeared from here. Let's bring it back over here. TLRY. So the ATR is down to $1.30. It's a 79 million shares flow. It has a good pre-market activity and a good daily. Yeah, this is worth throwing on here. I have not traded this stock in the past because the way it used to trade, I don't know how volatile it was. But here we have a nice spread, about 7 cents or so. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this one. For the pre-market, that's good. If that can get better at the open, that would be even more reason why we can hopefully watch this one and get some opportunities out of this one. All right, Peter, what do you have on your end that you like this morning? Actually, first, let's go really quick to the NASDAQ Active. See if we have anything in here that looks exciting. CLVS we have on our list already. Great pre-market activity. CETX, nothing going on here. You got 1.7 million shares traded. This thing is up 91%. But just look at the pre-market activity. Look at the daily. Again, this is one that you want to be very cautious with. Let's see what the 2.4 million shares flow. So if you are trading low flows, this looks like the active one today. I'm going to throw it down here. CETX. This looks like it has a lot of activity. Again, but just be very cautious. This is very low flow, guys. 2.4. NVCN always on this list, but now doesn't always look great. Look at this. Look at this candle here. It's just great. Pot opens up, gaps up, and just sells down for the entire day. So again, just be cautious with this one. BYND, we have NASDAQ as a QQQ on here. We have ESTR, penny stock. We'll skip that one. TLRY we have, which actually has a great pre-market activity, some good volume. Fast is not going fast anywhere. No, a couple of block trades here. No price activity. Tesla, yes, let's look at Tesla. I love the way Tesla's pre-market activity is looking right now. We have shares for sure. Yeah, Tesla's one that we can definitely keep an eye on. This one's been pretty fun to watch and even trade. Let's go over to the last one on this list, BIOC, penny stock, nothing going on there. NASDAQ gainer, CETX we have, that's the low flow of the day so far. It looks like it's trading very well. FLNT, not much going on here. It has 81,000 shares traded. It is up 84%. But just look at this pre-market activity. Also, the daily's not all that clean. If it is a low flow, I would prefer to watch CETX. I think has a better pre-market activity, better pre-market action, also volume. AESE, no activity. MNTA also not looking great. Horrible pre-market activity. Had a great day yesterday though. Had a really good day yesterday. Let's look at how that pre-market activity was yesterday. Man, talk about steady. Going from southwest to northeast here. Look, it's a very steady trend line. I don't know if you can even find any patterns. I don't see no ABCD patterns on this thing at all. It's just kind of just going up. So with some really low volume on top of that. So those are difficult, a little more difficult to trade. I mean, the whole entire volume for yesterday on this move was 2.8 million shares traded, right? So it's tough. That's something you get in and you just sit on and watch it go all day. Let's check the flow as well. So if you like this type of style, 97 million shares flow, it's not a low flow. If you like that type of style of trading, this could be a good one to watch if you could get some continuation here. Up 14%. On volume is 86,000, which probably this is huge volume for this type of stock because the normal volume is 2.8 million shares. So this is a lot, right? Again, not my preferred type of stock to look at, so I'm gonna just pass on this one, guys. But if you like to trade these type of styles, this is definitely one to watch because I had a great day yesterday. Let's go down to RMTI. This one, just not a great activity. It's got some volume, but the activity is just not great here. CNET, usually not anything going on here. Probably a block trade there. NVAX, it's got some volume, but again, just horrible pre-market, and also a stock that doesn't like it trades very well on a normal basis. ONCY, no activity. EDNT, also not looking great, no activity. And then down to, that's the last one. All right, guys, what do you guys like on your end? What do you guys have? Let's look at, start with our chat room here.
While you're looking for that, I will say Tesla traded really tough yesterday. It was very choppy. I'm finding it harder to trade up at these levels, so not liking that. Yesterday, I did like the semiconductors, MU. I did take a trade on MU and had a good one off of that. It gave some good moves early in the day. I don't know, right now looking at them, there's no big activity happening, but I'm still going to keep an eye on, my usual AMD, MU, NVIDIA, just to see if the semis have any action today. And then I don't know if you mentioned it, but Apple, let's maybe two more. Apple is still riding at all-time highs and had some decent price action yesterday, but again was a little choppy until the afternoon when it finally started to drop. And Roku gave some good signals yesterday, and Eamon and I in the afternoon were watching Roku for trades. So
all right, so I'll put all those four down here. We have Apple, which again, good volume right now, pre-market activity. MU has good volume, 90,000 shares traded so far. If you know, MU doesn't really get a lot of volume, but we got some good activity happening out of MU. Now, MU looks interesting because you do have this consolidation happening here. It looks like it might want to lose that the way it's setting up right now. So if it can lose that 56, it could be nice. Or if it can hold that, it can give you a good bounce opportunity to go back from red to green. And what red to green means, guys, for those that don't know, we do have a previous day close line right here, which is this dotted black line. If you're in the red, which is here, right, where you're down 0.87%, if you go red to green, you go from red to green, meaning you go over past that previous day close line. That's what that means. AMD, guys, this one here also consolidating a bit, trying to hold barely to this previous day close, slightly under it. It's got some great volume. Doesn't have that 700,000 that we like to see, but again, with the way the market's been moving lately, we've been getting a lot of great volatility and volume on these stocks, so that could be a good one to watch as well. And then Roku just still stuck within this range, right? It's kind of up and down between this range. Right now, doesn't have the best pre-market activity, does not have volume, but this is one, guys, that again can get going pretty fast, right? Can be very active. So if you have space, you can put this on here. So these will be some of our possibles for these semiconductors and Roku as well that can really get going this morning. All right, just gonna scroll back up, and so a lot of you guys mentioned Bank of America. So let's look at Bank of America and see what's going on there. All right, so Bank of America. Again, we talk about Bank of America. The one thing that it doesn't move much, right? It takes a very long time to get a good move out of Bank of America, and sometimes it can be very choppy. Today they got great volume, 2.1 million shares traded. They're almost down 2%, so they should be hitting our gappers list. They can get below that 2% there. So what's the news? What's the news going on with Bank of America, guys? What has broken out with this?
Yeah, Bank of America had earnings and they missed their sales targets.
Mm-hmm.
So they seem to beat on earnings, but they missed on sales, which usually, usually causes them to have some troubles in the next quarter. So
Gotcha. So we'll keep Bank of America on here. What I like about it on the daily is that if we can lose some of these levels we have here, we can definitely get a good move out of it. What I don't like about the characteristic of the stock and the way it's traded is just how choppy and slow it can be. And the ATR is very, very low. Now, they have some news today, so hopefully that can push things one way or the other. Let's look at NIO. I see from both chats, YouTube and our chat room as well, are mentioning NIO this morning. So NIO at the moment is up 10%, 11 million shares traded. Now we had a great day, very clean day a couple of 2 weeks ago, the 30th, right? We had a very clean day, December 30th here. And then from that, just got pretty choppy in this area, not really a lot of clean trading. And NIO has been a stock, we have watched this stock before in the past. It's a stock that's very difficult to trade. It's not an easy stock to trade. This morning, they got some great volume, some really good pre-market activity. Is there any new news, or this is a continuation of the last news we had when we had this beautiful gap up and intraday trading? I'm not sure if there's
whoops,
anything else
I was
going
on.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see any big news. There's some, financial rumors out there that that potentially some Chinese money is going to flow into NIO and make some further
Mm-hmm.
investments, which would, if they're connected, if it's connected money, it would give them greater access to that Chinese market. But other than that, I mean, there's no announcements from the company that I saw. NIO always has good volume, but it's also very algorithmically traded. You can tell it's got these like little wiki candles that are like less than a penny,
Yeah.
tall.
Yep.
So just, like I personally don't like the way it trades, but just, if you're going to trade it, just be careful. It can move, but,
Yeah. Just
you
be
know,
very cautious. Watch your number of shares on this one. Um, All right, let's go through this. What else we have? So Tesla we have, Target we have. All right, that's good. NGG, is this NGG? What's going on here? Not much going on there. No action. NIO we have. All right, let's go over to our YouTube chat. See what we got. So Roku we have on our list. We're gonna take a look at Roku as well. Let's look at CLVS we have on our list. ESTC. Take a look at a few more, then we'll go over to announcements. ESTC, not much going on there, guys. No volume at the moment, so unless there's any news, I don't see much going on there. Let's look at GS. This is Goldman Sachs. So dropping down a bit here on Goldman Sachs. So should be hitting our scanners pretty soon. Down 1.8. Very similar to what's going on with Bank of America. So I'm not sure if these guys also had earnings, Peter, or is there anything else causing this drop here? Now, Goldman Sachs, guys, a little more on the expensive side. And it's also these banking stocks are just a little bit more difficult to trade. So I'm personally not going to watch this one today. It's just not one of the stocks I really like to trade. I will do one last one, RIGL.
yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead.
just to answer your question on Goldman, it's another one of the financial institutions. They're usually the first out of the gate with earnings, so it
Mm-hmm.
also has earnings, and they missed their profit expectations. So they're sort of the opposite of Bank of America. They beat revenue but missed on profit. So it's one of those where I expect Goldman Sachs to sort of have a rebound through the day. But I agree with you; it can be a tough trader.
Yeah, sure can. All right, so this one, guys, we'll do the last one because we're running a little bit short on time here. RIGL. So this is not a low flow. Had a great day yesterday. It's a lower price stock, and usually stocks that are priced at this, under $5, under $10 with such a large float like this, can trade a little bit more difficult to catch patterns. Also, the volume seems very, very light, guys. I mean, this entire day it only traded 5.5 million shares, right? So that's pretty light. You could be sitting here, the spread could be horrible, and it can take forever to get, a couple of cents out of this. I mean, the entire day it went from 220 to 240, 260, right? 40 cents move, and look how long that took. So again, a different style of trading. This similar to another stock that we just saw earlier on here. Forgot which ticker that was. CETX, I believe it was. Again, so it's a different style of trading that I don't really like of really watching. So I'm not going to put that one on our list. Had a great day yesterday. Could put in a continuation, but we're not going to watch that one. All right, Peter, let's go over to announcements. I do not have a sheet, so we'll just read them all from what Abio has put on into our announcement tab, and we'll post
You
those on our
bet.
YouTube as well.
Yep. So we only have a couple of announcements this morning, guys. But today, on the 15th, that is today. We are holding our next success webinar for our lifetime members. So you can join us at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's market time, 8 p.m. Eastern, in the lifetime members chat room, and we'll be having which should be a fantastic webinar on how to trade different variations of the ABCD patterns. So he's going to go through sort of ABCDs, how they work, he's some advanced techniques and how he trades them and manages them. So it should be a great webinar. Look forward to it. For all of our lifetime members, please join us tonight in the lifetime members room for that success webinar. There is a link up above if you want to take a look at more details. We are always looking for reviews, honest reviews, guys, whatever you think, good, bad. We love your feedback. We'd love if you'd send the feedback directly to us rather than posting it online. But if that's what you need to do, then you go do that. But anytime you can provide that, it just provides more awareness to others out there in the community as to what we can offer and, frankly, where we'd be a fit. We acknowledge that we are not a fit for everyone, and we want to make sure that those traders who are like-minded are able to find us and join us in the room. So please do that. We've got a link up above in our room where you can provide reviews. We have a meetup coming. We love our meetups. They're a ton of fun. It's a good chance to meet face to face some of the traders whom you've just been chatting with online. Our next one is coming up soon on the 18th of January in Seattle. I know yesterday Andrew was talking about putting together a carpool. So if you're in the Vancouver area and you want to even ride in the trunk of Andrew's car, or probably he'll give you a back seat if you're early enough. Reach out to him directly. But either way, if you're anywhere near Seattle or willing to travel there, January the 18th, we've got a meetup in Seattle. Hope to see you there. We do have a link that'll give you further information on that information in our forums so that you can get to that meetup. Last thing I'll mention, guys, is as always, look, we especially to those on YouTube, if you're just trying us out, you're not sure whether this is the room for you, we want to give you an opportunity at as low a cost as we can to join us. You can use the code PREMARKET24 for a $24 1-week trial. We will not upsell you. We will not force you to convert to anything else. It's just a 1-week flat trial. You make your own choice as to what you want to do next. So please give it a try. And join us here. I think you'll find that there's a lot of value, not only in the work, the stuff that we do in the room with the live trading all day, but also with all the material we have in our forums and our media center, our education center, and all of that stuff you can get access to as a member of Bear Bull Traders. So those are the news articles for this morning. We got quite a few things to set levels, so I'll turn it back to Carlos.
All right. Thank you, Peter, for that. Really appreciate it. So great question from David from Orlando in our chat room. He's asking, how to give us some tips on how we can handle a stock that has been halted. That's a great question because we do see that quite a bit. Not as much on these higher price stocks, right? And the larger to mid flow stocks. You see them more on the lower flow stocks that they tend to move a lot percentage a lot faster than these bigger price stocks. But my rule on this, if something gets halted, if I'm in a trade, something gets halted, the minute it opens up, if I'm in this trade, let's say I was in this trade short from here and it gets halted here and I'm stuck in this trade, the minute it opens up, I want to be very aggressive in getting out of a trade. And the reason is because it can go either way after this halt, right? You don't know how many people are stuck here, short or long, and the minute they get a chance to get out of a position, they are going to do that. And you can see it could change the way the stock trades and the way it changes its price pattern. On this one here, yesterday it got halted right on here, as Peter was mentioning. So it sells down a little bit more, and then look, it comes all the way right back up to the VWAP. Now, this could have happened because the market started going back up, or people were just taking their profits, or people that were saw a good opportunity to go long got in here. It could be so many different reasons of this transaction happening this way. But for me personally, the minute I get an opportunity to get out of a halt, especially if I'm in the green, I'm going to execute it out immediately. So that's the only way I will handle that. Also, after a halt, I don't want to get into a trade after a stock has been halted. I'm going to wait to see how the price action settles down and then see if there's any opportunities that build up. Because I think a halt, what it does is it really takes away from the actual price action. And once it opens back up, it can really change the way that stock trades. It could be very difficult to find some patterns. So that's the way I will handle that. Again, if you're stuck in one, obviously if you're either if you're red or green, you want to just get out of it as soon as possible. Or be aggressive. It keeps running. Be aggressive in partialing out and knowing that you want to be out as soon as possible. You don't want this coming back against you very aggressive. All right, guys. So let's go through some of these stocks here. We have quite a bit. We're not gonna go through all of them. BYND we're going to watch, guys. This thing is dropping very nice now. So look at the pre-market action. So we'll watch BND for sure. We'll keep this one on our list. CLVS. It's got a great pre-market activity, some good volume, 2.7. I think it has a great daily, so we'll watch this one. PCG, I'm going to take off. The pre-market's not looking all that great. We do have 1.3 million shares traded so far on this one, but just look at the way this pre-market activity is forming here, right? So it's not all that great at the moment. So I'm just gonna remove this one. Let's get our 5 minutes better here. Yes, I'm just gonna remove this one for now. I like the daily. I think if it can break out of this area, guys, if you're watching PCG, it has a beautiful resistance here on the daily. Look at that resistance around, what's that, 13 bucks or so. We're trying to test that one more time. If we can get above that, we have some room to run and close this gap. But I just don't like the pre-market activity right now on this one. And we just have way too much on here to watch. So this one's going to have to take a backseat, unfortunately. Pins, I do like Pins, guys. Got a clean pre-market activity. He's up 4.6. We broke out of the bottom of this gap yesterday. I think this could put in a good continuation today, so I'm definitely going to be watching this one. Target as well has got some bad news on Target on earnings. I like the pre-market activity. 1.2 million shares traded, down 6.4. Definitely worth watching. NKTR I like as well because it gave us a good intraday trade the last couple of days. So I like the way this one is trading right now. I'm going to watch this one. CRON I'm going to take off at the moment. I think it's just it's one that might not trade very well. It's got a good volume, but I only like this one to the long side. So I'm just going to remove this one just for the sake of being able to take some off our list here. TLRY, I had a great day yesterday, but again, guys, I think this one also I'm going to remove. We have some other ones here with some good news that I think can give us some or good catalysts that can give us a very nice move. Tesla, I'm going to watch as well. Bank of America is one, again, doesn't move as much. And since we have so many, I'm just going to remove this one. Again, the ATR is very low, and it could tend to be a little choppy on these banking stocks and also these NYSE stocks. So just going to get rid of this one. NIO has a great pre-market activity, guys. Look at the volume, 12 million shares traded. But from experience, NIO can be very choppy and very difficult to trade. It gave us a really good day a couple of days ago here. Nice pop and a great continuation. The problem with NIO is the continuation. Sometimes you don't get that great clean continuation. So on the fence on this one, guys, I'm going to remove it. Again, when the market has so many stocks that are moving like this, you have to be picky and pick the best ones that you like based on your criteria, based on price, based on volume, and also based on how you have traded them in the past before. For example, Tesla could have a great pre-market activity, but if you have traded NIO and have been successful with it, maybe you want to keep an NIO because you can understand the price action, right? So keep that in mind. You don't have to always watch what everybody else is watching. You can fine tune your list a little bit, especially on a day like today where we have so many stuff that we can watch. All right, so this will be our watches right now. Let's go through over some levels of support and resistance. So on BYND already, you have your highs and lows from the last two trading days, giving you a lot of levels on here. The only level I'm going to mark down is the low of the pre-market at the moment, sitting right at 110.20. So we'll mark that down, see if we can bounce off of that. We tested it 1, 2, 3, but this thing looks very weak, guys. Putting in a nice double top here, and then just selling below the VWAP with a beautiful pre-market activity. So I like BYND for a possible short, but again, no bias. This can really bounce from here and be aggressive, put in an aggressive squeeze. Next, we have CLVS at the moment. Again, it's got a great pre-market activity. What I like about this one is that it can get some potential if it can get above this pre-market highs and put in a nice squeeze. It's got some great volume, 2.8. It is up 22% this morning. High of the pre-market sitting at 11.48. Above that, we do have a level up here at 14. Another one all the way up here at a 17, which are very clean. Changing direction resistance area. Now, I know from 11.47 to 14.05 is way too much. We need something in the middle here. And if you look very closely, you have a level here at 12.61 that has been tested here once, twice, 3, 4, at least 5, 6 times. So that 12.61 is the area you want to get to. Also, this $12 mark, you want to be aware of these whole dollar numbers as well. All right, so Pins here is putting in a good pre-market activity, some good volume. High of your pre-market sitting at 22.76, so we'll mark that down. Oops, here we go, 22.76. Below that, you have your highs and lows from the last two trading days and the previous day close right on there, 21.51. Now what I like about this one, we do have some room towards the north side. Our next area of resistance, most recent, is going to be at 24.35. So I'm going to mark that down, 24.35. Other than that, you really haven't, in the recent times, you have really nothing in here. It's all open. And hopefully you can get a run out of here. If you go all the way back, you can see a date over here around 23.65, but you still have a lot of room before you can get to that area. So we'll keep an eye on this one. Target, guys, I do like, again, Target bouncing back a little bit here. Low of the pre-market sitting at a 113.15, so we'll mark that down. Above that, you do have the low of this gap at 118.40, so I'll mark that down as well. And then above that, the high of the pre-market is really pretty much sitting where all the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days are at. So I'm not going to mark that one down. I think you have plenty of levels there. So we'll see how Target does, bouncing back a bit here off that 113.22, but it does got some negative news. So we'll see what kind of open this gives us at 9:30. NKTR, we have some really good moves and trades on this one, so I definitely want to watch this one. Has a great pre-market activity, some good volume. Low of the pre-market sitting right at 23. High of the pre-market sitting right at 25.05. Above that, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. So I don't think you need to add anything more towards the top. You got plenty of levels here. You got some moving averages as well coming in on the daily. Towards the bottom, if we lose this 23, which right now we're putting in a beautiful bounce to 25, we come back down to 23. You do have an area right here at 22 that we can possibly find an area of support in that area at 22. So we'll mark that down. And we'll see how that reacts. But again, this one has been trading so clean, at the open, that I definitely want to keep an eye on this one. So Tesla, guys, really giving some back here, continues to just break all-time highs. But right now we're down almost 2%, 542,000 shares traded. At the moment, you have some really good levels, and it's all you really need, because right now we've been breaking all-time highs since 4 something. And all you have is the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days and the previous day close. So that's all you really have as far as levels. So right now it looks like we might want to test this low of yesterday, which is down to 524.95. We'll see what this pre-market activity does when it gets there. But right now we got some really good volume. We got a pretty nice clean pre-market activity here on Tesla. So we'll see how that reacts. But again, definitely worth watching this one. And just be cautious, guys. No bias on this, because every time you think this thing is going to sell down, look what history has shown us, right? 2 red days. Well, that's too big. Every time it sells down, buyers are stepping in and pushing it back up. Sells down, buyers are stepping in big time. And again, we have another sell down. This pattern can present itself again. So just be aware that just because it's selling off here does not mean we're going to go back down to 500. So be careful. All right, and some possibles, guys. Apple, again, rejecting all-time high. Where's the SPY doing? SPY is sold off, but it's coming back a bit. But SPY is rejecting, not all-time high, sorry, the previous day close, coming back down a bit. It's a good possible for today. If we can lose this area, we have some moving averages here. Another good possible is MU, guys. We got some okay volume. Not the best pre-market activity, but you know MU can tend to do that. Now, what I don't like too much about MU is that we're stuck within this consolidation area, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. So that might cause a lot of choppiness. AMD, on the other hand, is right towards the bottom of this consolidation area. I prefer this one for a drop towards this moving average if we're going to be weak for today. And then Roku's almost very close to MU, kind of stuck within this consolidation area as well. But we've known Roku to give us some good pre-market, intraday trading if it can get going in one direction. And then the low flow of the day is CETX. Again, I'm not going to be watching this one. Again, I just haven't been trading these low flows lately because, again, they're very difficult to trade. The risk is a little more different. The patterns, a lot of fake outs in these low flow stocks. That's what you're going to notice. You might be thinking it's an ABCD breakout, and then boom, somebody just dumps their shares and you're down 50 cents. Even with a hard stop, in order can skip you and your fill could be horrible. So just be aware of that when it comes to these low flow stocks. All right, Peter, unless there's anything else that we missed, I think this will be our watch list for today. Andrew's going to come on in a couple of minutes. He's going to fine tune his list. Anything you're watching, Peter, that is not on my list that you like this morning?
No, I think you covered everything, and yeah, we're running up close to the market here. So good trading, everybody. Have a great day. I know Andrew's ready to join and got his watch list prepped. So thanks, everybody, and hopefully Norm's feeling better, and will be back with us tomorrow morning.
Excellent. Yep, Andrew is going to jump in right now. He is watching BYND, CLVS, PCG, PINS, and TGT, NKTR. Take care, guys, on YouTube. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time.